Hello, Math 96. So today we did review factoring with greatest common factor and Magic X as a class. So this is a makeup video if you were absent on Monday or Tuesday. So you'll need to take out a piece of paper. We're going to be doing 3 problems as a class together that you will be uploading to the digital workbook. As a reminder, this Friday, February 26th, is the end of this triad. All digital workbook assignments are due by this Friday. And then also please check Aries for your quiz grade. If you want to do a quiz retake, it will be this Thursday and Friday, and I've posted a separate assignment on Google Classroom that you must do before you can take the quiz retake on Thursday or Friday. So that's back on Google Classroom. So today again, as a class, we're going to do 3 problems, so you should have a piece of paper out. And then tonight on your own, you'll need to do the 4 problems at the end of this presentation for homework. All right. So you should have a piece of paper out, title it Classwork. And if you just want to sit for just a minute, I just want to show you something. So I have a lot of students who have trouble with greatest common factor. And I just want to show you where the teacher comes up with that. So for instance, if a teacher has just a binomial, x plus 5, and they want to add in a greatest common factor, then we just make it up. So maybe I want to have 4 and x as the greatest common factor. So as your teacher, what we do is we just multiply that in. So 4x times x would be 4x squared. 4x times 5 would be 20x. And what's in the box here is the problem that we give to the student. And so as a student, we would ask you to find the greatest common factor. And so then you can see that 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 times 5 is 20. So the common number is a 4. And then for the common letter, you always take out the back amount of variables or x's. So what's common, what we can take out is a 4 and the back amount of x's. Oops, sorry about that. Hold on a minute. Sorry. 4 and the back amount of x's. So 4x is our greatest common factor, which you can see is what I multiplied in. And then you always put parentheses underneath the problem. Since we took out a 4 and we had x squared, we took out x. The only thing that would be left would be another x. We have a 5 left over, so we'll put the sign in. And then we have a 5 left over, and we took out the x. So you can see I got back to my original problem. So that's what we do as teachers. Let's do one more. So let's say I gave you a problem like this, and I wanted the greatest common factor to be, 3x squared. So as your teacher, what I do is I take 3x squared and I multiply it to everything. Let me just change colors. As long as this doesn't change screens on me. There we go. So 3x times the x squared would be 3x to the 4th. 3x squared times the middle x would be 3x to the 3rd. 3x squared times the back -6 would be -18x squared. And again, what's in the box is what I would give you as the student and say to find the greatest common factor. So as a student, you would say, okay, 3 is 3 times 1, another 3 is 3 times 1, and in the back, 3 times 6 is 18. So my common number is 3. So I can pull out a 3 from everyone. And then I take out the back amount of x's, so I can pull out x squared from every item. So if I pull out the 3, I just look here. I had x to the 4th. I pulled out x squared, so I need x squared left over because x squared would be added for x to the 4th. And bring down the plus sign. I took out the 3. I had x cubed. And I took out x squared, so there would just be an x left. And then I bring down the sign. And then in the back, I had 3 times 6, so I still have a 6 left. And the x squared I completely pulled out, and I'm done. I'm just going to move my parenthesis over. So you can see this part matches this part, and 3x squared matches the GCF. So that's how we do that as teachers, how we decide on what kind of GCF to put into the problem. Okay? All right, now you're going to start writing. So this is page 3 of your white notebook. You may find that useful. All right, so you're going to start writing. Please title this as classwork. Write down the problem. We're going to do 3 of these, and then you're going to upload it to your digital workbook. Okay, real quickly, I just wanted to talk about this little box. So standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. So you have to have, before you can do the magic x, you have to have x squared, and then just plain x, and then no x. So the a, b, and c are numbers. And in order to do the magic x on a problem, you have to have x squared x and then no x. And you can see this problem right here has x to the 3rd, so that's already a hint that you have a GCF, because you can't do magic x unless you have x squared x and no x. So to find the GCF, for a hint for you, is to go, a lot of times just go to the smaller numbers, so 9. So I'm thinking in my head 3 times 3 is 9, also 9 times 1, but 30 is not divisible by 9, right? But 30 is divisible by 3, so I'm going to use 3 as my GCF. Oh, what happened there? There we go. So I know 3 times 10 is 30, and I know 3 times 8 is 24. So I can pull out a 3 from each item. So that's the first part of my GCF. So we're working on the GCF. And then I look to the back amount of x's, and I pull out whatever's in the back, and then I draw parentheses. So we took out the 3's. Hold on, this doesn't want to work. There we go. Okay, so we pulled out the 3's. So I'm going to cross these numbers off. So we have an 8, a 10, and a 3 left. So 8, 10, and 3. I'm going to also put my signs in. And now I just have to deal with my x's. So I had x cubed, I pulled out x, so I have x squared, and that's good because I need something with just x squared in order to do my magic x. The next one, I had x squared, I pulled out x, so I just have an x left because x times x is x squared, right? And that's good because the second item should just be an x, right? And then in the back, I just had the 3. I pulled out the entire x, so I'm all done. So your second step now is to do the magic x. So we did our GCF, it was 3x. Now we're going to do a magic x. Let's see if I can change colors here. Okay, so we're going to get ready for the final answer. So the first thing you do is you put down the GCF and then 2 empty parentheses, and this is where we're going to put our final answer. So now we're going to do the magic x, and so we're only going to do the magic x on this green middle part. Draw my magic x. I'm going to multiply the front and the back, so 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. So what multiplies to a negative 24 and adds or subtracts to 10? And then don't forget, whatever this term is, you have to write it on the side, 8x, 8x. That's the trick to the magic x. Okay, so what multiplies to 24 and gives us 10? It's either 6 and 4 or 12 and 2. I need it to multiply to negative 24, so one has to be positive and one's negative. So a positive 12 times a negative 2 would be negative 24, and is 12 minus 2 is equal to positive 10. So I'm going to use a positive 12 and a negative 2. 6 and 4 will not work. Positive 6 plus 4 more equals positive 10, but 6 times 4 is a positive 24, and that's not what we need. So 6 and 4 won't work. Okay. So the next step is to make sure that you divide out by whatever you can. You can see on the right, I can only divide by 2s, otherwise I'd get a fraction, right? I need a total of 8. So 2 times a 4, I can divide by a 4 on the left. That 4 times that 2 totals up to the 8, right? And then that's what's going to go in the parentheses, and we're all done. And that's our final answer. So 8 divided by 4 and 12 divided by 4 would be 2x plus 3. And on the other side, 8 divided by 2 and 2 divided by 2 would be 4x minus 1. Okay. So we did the GCF first, and then we did the magic X. Hit pause if you need a moment on this video. Okay, this is number 2. If you can please write that down. So we have to find the GCF first. So for this one, I'm going to go to 10 because 10 is limited. I can either use 10 and 1 or 2 and 5. So I'm limited to 2 and 5. So the only number that's going to be common is 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. And 2 times 12 is 24. And then I'm also going to pull out the back amount of letters. So X and Y is going to come out. That's how we find the GCF. So I can pull out a 2 from everyone and also the XY. So my GCF is 2XY, and then draw parentheses. So we took out a 2. So the numbers that are left are 2, 5, and 12. We have a 2, a 5, and a 12 left. Oops, I'm not on the pen. Hold on a minute. Sorry about that. Okay. So we have a 2 left. We had x cubed y. We took out xy. So there's x squared left, which is good because, again, we need to have the first term for our magic x to be an x squared. So we have a 5 left here. Bring down our sign, a positive 5, right? We had x squared y, and we took out xy, so that just leaves x, and that's good because our second term just needs a regular x. Bring down my sign. We had a 12 left, and we took out the full amount of xy, so there's no other letters left, which is good because over here c is just a constant number. So the next step will be to do the magic x. So you're going to focus just in here for the magic x. So I bring down the greatest common factor into our final answer. We'll need 2 parentheses. This will be our final answer. So now I'm just going to focus here in the middle and do the magic x. So I'm going to multiply 2 times negative 12 is negative 24 again. So what multiplies to a 24 negative, but this time gives us a 5? Whatever this item is, we write 2x, 2x. So what multiplies to 24 and gives us 5? We need a negative 24. We need an 8 and a 3, and it has to add up to a positive 5, so I need 8 minus 3. So an 8 times a negative 3 equals a negative 24, and then 8 minus 3 is equal to 5, so I need a positive 8 and a negative 3. And then I have to divide out. So this is the side I'm dividing by the 2 that I multiplied in at the beginning. And this answer comes down. So this would be x plus 4. This answer comes down. This would be 2x minus 3. And that's your final answer. Okay, one more. You can hit pause if you need a minute here. Okay, so this is number 3, if you can write that down. Okay, so if you look at the standard form, you have ax squared plus bx plus c in the blue box. And look, there's no negative there. So someone tells you in math that you cannot do the magic x. You cannot do the magic x if you have a lead negative. So right here we have what's called a lead negative. So when you have a lead negative, you have to pull out the lead negative, because the reason why is you can't do the magic x with the lead negative. And when you pull out a lead negative, you have to remember to change signs. Otherwise, your factoring won't work with the magic x. Okay, so we'll get to that in just a second. Let me just change, well, I'll leave this here. Okay, so out of 12, 36, and 15, there's multiple ways to multiply to 12 and 36. And if you don't know that, you can look here. I mean, look at the different ways to multiply to 36. It's right here. There's a whole bunch of ways to multiply to 36. There's quite a few ways to multiply to 12. But when you go to 15, those are your only options. 15 and 1 and 5 and 3. So knowing that 15 is limited to 3 and 5, or 15 and 1, 15 won't work. So I'm going to stick with 3 and 5. You should know 3 times 4 is 12. And if you don't know what 3 times what is 36, go back to that sheet that I just showed you, and it would show you that 3 times 12 is 36. So again, I'm starting with 15 because 15 is the most limited as far as your factors go. So now when I pull out the 3, I have to make sure I pull out a negative 3 and that I change the signs. And that's because it starts with the lead negative. So we're going to put our parentheses. We're going to pull out negative 3. And in these, in these spots, I'm going to change the sign. So this positive will become a negative, and this one will become a positive. So we're not pulling out any letters this time because there are no letters in the back. So the GCF is just a number. Okay? So I'm pulling out the 3s. That leaves me with a 4, a 12, and a 15. I'm sorry, 4, a 12, and a 5. That leaves me with 4, 12, and 5. All right? So this will be 4x squared. I'm still not on the right thing. I'm sorry. So it leaves me with 4x squared. The next one leaves me with 12x. And the back one leaves me with just a 5. Okay, so we did our GCF. And this time we had the lead negative, and I went over that you had to change signs. So the next step is to do the magic X. multiply front and back, and divide out when you do your magic X, right? So that should be a really quick review. So I'm going to bring down my -3 into my answer, put my parentheses, get ready for my final answer. I'm going to focus right in the middle and do my magic X. So what multiplies to 20? 4 times 5 is 20 and gives us that -12. Whatever this term is, I write 4x so I can divide out what I multiplied in. So what multiplies to 20 and gives us 12? What multiplies to 20 and gives us 12 has to be, a 2 and a 10. And it would have to be a negative times a negative is a positive 20, because -2 plus 10 more negatives would add up to -12. So we need a -2 and a -10. So 2 times 10 is 20, 2 and 10 make 12. And then we're just going to divide out. So we're going to divide out a total of 4. I'm going to divide 2 on this side and 2 on that side. That totals up to the 4. We can't divide by 4s because if you put a 4 underneath the 10 or put a 4 underneath the left 2, it would be fractions. Okay? So this answer would be 2x minus 1. This answer would be 2x minus 5. And just because I don't like the color there, I'm going to change that to a red -3. And there's your final answer. Okay? All right, hit pause if you need a moment. And what I need you to do now is to upload those 3 problems to your digital workbook. So there's a slide up there. Make sure you upload the 3 problems we just did to your digital workbook. And the title on there, you can just put classwork. That's fine. It says right on the slide. And then go ahead and take out a new piece of paper. And on the next screen, there's 4 problems for homework for tonight. And I'll be going over those the next time I see you in class, okay? So you have 2 uploads for today. Here comes the homework. There you go. So these are the 4 problems for the homework for tonight, Monday and Tuesday. And go ahead and hit pause so you can copy those down. Hit pause on the video so that you can copy these down, because I'm going to end the video, okay? So hit pause on the video. Thanks, you guys. Have a great day.